Hey, happy Monday. Happy Monday. I am Shamaree. I'm a relationship and intimacy coach, and I empower women to get the confidence and pleasure that they deserve so that they no longer settle for lack of satisfaction, especially in relationships. It is Monday. I've been kind of busy with errands, so I'm still kind of in the middle of it. And so I'm going to try to make this pretty quick. But we do these weekly lives where you guys can submit questions to me throughout the week and I answer them. And that is at no cost to you. So this is one of the only ways that you'll be able to get some insight from me for no cost. The other way is I am currently doing clarity calls. It is 60 minutes, 60-minute calls that I'm doing, or up to 60 minutes. It probably won't take that long, but you do get up to 60 minutes, and that is for the month of May. If you do not book a call with me for the month of May, you will not have the opportunity for 60 minutes because I'm not going to continue to do that long term. So I'll still offer calls in the future. They just won't be 60 minutes. So if you are looking to get as much time as possible, May is the time to do it. So you should definitely go do that. Follow me if you're not. If you go to my Instagram bio, you click on the link. There you'll see the link for you to go ahead and schedule a call with me. You'll see all the other stuff that I offer, the course, all my social media, all of the things. Make sure you're following so you can get all the information as it comes, because there's a lot of stuff coming up. But I have a few questions that you guys sent to me. And so we're going to jump right into that, see if we can keep this very quick. So the first one is, am I crazy for feeling away when my man likes other women's pictures on social media? So am I crazy for feeling away when my man likes other women's pictures on social media? And so for this, or with anything in life, first let me say that nothing really has meaning until we give it meaning, right? So the action of someone doing something or something occurring in life has no meaning unless we give it meaning. So on one side of this, there is a little bit of internal work and kind of reframing and changing our thoughts in the way that we view things, and the meaning that we give to things. And then the other side of it comes down to like communication and boundaries and what you will and will not accept within a relationship, and how we kind of negotiate that sort of thing. And then kind of a third part of that would be to work on our own confidence and things that we may feel insecure about, which kind of goes along with the first thing that I said, which is the mindset and reframing and changing things up a little bit. So a lot of times when people feel a way about when their partner is liking certain things on social media or looking at certain things, it's because of the meaning that we give to it. So if we're looking at it as that's someone that they may want, or that is what they really like, or if that's how they show interest, then that seems heavy, right? Rather than, oh, it was a dope picture, I just really like the picture, right? So if it was just a dope picture, you can appreciate art, then you wouldn't necessarily feel as strongly about it as when you're thinking about, oh, if you're liking this picture, that means you like this person, you want to talk to this person, you want to get to know this person. Those are two very different things. So I always say you have to know yourself. Know yourself. Everyone's different. Liking pictures on social media might not bother me, but that doesn't mean that it should not bother you. Everyone is different, right? And a lot of times it's easier if we have somebody who's on the same page. So if I don't like it and you also don't like it, then we shouldn't have any issues with it, right? But not everyone's going to be that way. So we want to first check ourselves. So if we know ourselves, if it's coming from a place of insecurity, a place of just not wanting that person to see or be interested in anything other than ourselves, there's a little bit of checking that we need to do there. So what is it that's truly bothering us about this? Do we feel like they're not interested in us any longer? Do we feel like they will no longer want to be in a relationship, or maybe that they're already engaging with this person? So if those are what you're worried about, then the issue is more than social media, because social media is not the issue at all there, right? So that's what we kind of have to nail down. What is it that's really actually bothering you about that? And then if it's coming from your history rather than what this individual person is showing you, because a lot of times if we have been treated badly in the past, we bring some of that to the future because we learn some things. If I see certain behaviors, now I'm going to be on guard. I'm going to be more aware of that. And so if it's based on a past person, I always say have a conversation and give the benefit of the doubt at first, because this is a new person. They might not have any ill intention and they might feel a completely different way. So having a conversation, they can tell you like, oh no, I just like this picture, or I know this person from before and she's doing big things now, or whatever the case may be, right? So have a conversation, see where they stand on it and what their perspective is, because the way that we interpret it is not guaranteed to be the way that they interpret it. And that is okay. Obviously that's when boundaries come into play. And what I always say is not necessarily the thing that is the issue. So like I said, it's the meaning that we put to it. So if I'm telling you that this really actually truly bothers me and I'm going to work on my self-esteem, I'm going to work on my insecurities, but in the meantime, I need you to be understanding of that and not do this as much or not do it anymore, or whatever my boundary is going to be, then that person has to respect that. So not necessarily being on the same page, because if they don't think social media is a big deal, then they don't think it's a big deal. You're not necessarily going to make them believe that it is, but they should have at least some level of respect for how it impacts you and work with you in the meantime. And then I mentioned the whole confidence thing because a lot of times, especially when I'm hearing this from women, it's because they don't look anything like the women or the pictures that are being liked. The hard eyes underneath the picture, they don't look anything like that, right? So then now they're questioning, do you like me? Because I look nothing like this. And if you're liking all these pictures of someone who looks like that, is that what you truly want? And you're just here because I'm what's available to you? Are you feeling like you're settling? Are you waiting for your opportunity, for the door to open, for you to go elsewhere? And that comes from some level of insecurity or some uncertainty. And if it's uncertainty within yourself, then we absolutely can work on that, because we can always feel more confident. I think that I'm a pretty confident person, and if you know me, you know, but I feel like you can always be more confident. You can always gain more confidence, and I gain more confidence every time that I learn more about myself. So I can definitely help you with that. I have a challenge coming up in June. It's a free challenge. It'll be 5 days where you could get kind of like a crash course to help you with your confidence. So if you're interested in that, make sure you follow me. And I said that earlier, so you should already be following me. But if you're not, here's another opportunity. Click the little drop down up there and go ahead and follow me now, because I'll be announcing that, and you can sign up. No cost to you, 5 days. We'll talk about confidence and working on that, because we gotta get that together. Everyone should feel confident in themselves and know what they offer and how great they are, and whether or not another person can acknowledge that or see that. We don't care, because we know that and we see that, right? So I think that should be the foundation. From there, choosing people who can respect you and your boundaries and how you feel about things, whether they agree with it or not, because they don't have to agree. No one has to agree with you. But just making sure that you have a conversation and you can express it in a way that they can understand, so that you guys can start to negotiate and figure out what's going to feel comfortable for your relationship. And I believe everyone should make their own rules. I can't say that social media is not important or that it should be important. That's up to you. You have to know yourself, how you feel, how you interpret things. And as well as your partner or whoever else is involved, they should know how you feel. You should know how they feel. You guys should have that open conversation and go from there. So I don't necessarily think that it's crazy. It's not a crazy thing. If you've been hurt previously, if you've seen this behavior previously, and it was a bad situation, it ended up being a negative experience, then it makes sense that you would be wary of that now, seeing it again, wanting to avoid the negative consequences that came from it before. So it makes sense logically. It's just whether or not you're applying that to all situations, because all situations are not going to end like that. All situations are not that. This is a whole new person, or this is a whole new time of life. This could potentially be different. So we don't want to act the same way in every circumstance when it could be completely different. So crazy, I wouldn't use that word. I wouldn't use that language. But I do think that there's ways that we can address it. So definitely checking your insecurities or things that you maybe just don't feel super confident about. Checking the way that you are framing this in your mind, the meaning that you're giving to it, and whether or not it's warranted. And then also just working on your communication and your boundaries and setting those and being very clear about those. And then we can kind of go from there. Like I said, if you need help with the confidence bit, definitely stay tuned for June 6th through 11th. So definitely mark your calendars and keep an eye out for me dropping more details on that soon. The next question is techniques to help enhance masturbation experience, keeping it from being like a redundant routine. And this applies to masturbation, but it can apply to sex or just, I guess, most other things, I suppose, things that you kind of get into a routine around. So you definitely want to change it up. So that can be changing techniques. It could be something as simple as changing your hands or not using your hands and instead using toys or other additions. So some people use food, some people use pillows and household items. Definitely be careful and make sure that you're checking ingredients. Don't use anything internally that should not be internal to your body. But there's ways that you can definitely change it up without even having to change a lot. These are all things that are at your disposal. So if you do want to use food items, ice, whatever, if you want to switch hands, if you want to use a toy, there's tons of toys, and that's for penises and vaginas. There's different types of toys. And if you don't know, definitely go to a sex store and just walk around. And the people there are usually pretty helpful too. So if you have questions or anything, they've seen it all. So don't feel embarrassed or like they're going to look at you crazy, because they're not. So definitely that. Also maybe changing your location. So going to a different place. So if you usually do it in the shower, then maybe try it in the room. If you usually do it in the room, try it in the living room. And also be very respectful if you live with other people. But other than that, go somewhere else and do it. That can sometimes be helpful. Also edging, if you haven't done that before, you don't know what that is. It's kind of pleasuring yourself almost to the point of completion and then stopping or slowing down to prolong the experience. So doing something like that can be helpful to kind of switching things up. Usually when people masturbate, at least from what they tell me, you're kind of in and out, and you're trying to just get it done because you're just trying to get it over with. You just need that release. And so usually it's a pretty short experience, but it doesn't have to be. There's no rules around that saying that it has to be. You're by yourself, so get it done and get it out. But take your time. Set the scene. I did a reel on this. If you haven't seen it, go look at my reels. It's one of the last ones. But yeah, set the scene. If you like music, lights, candles, aromas, all of that can be impactful in changing the experience, so it doesn't feel like you're doing the same thing every single time, because that can be very boring. But it can also put you in a pattern where that becomes the only way that you can climax. So we don't want that to happen, because then if you start to be with a partner, it might make it a little bit more difficult to climax if they're unable to replicate the way that you've been doing it before. So definitely try to incorporate different things, different locations, different techniques, slow down, speed up, back off, jump back in, set the scene. All of those things can be really helpful. So that's what I have to say about that. The answer to that question kind of goes with the next question that's coming up too. So I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know what y'all think, if you agree or if you have other strategies that you think might be helpful. And this person did tell me that they are a virgin, so their whole sex life up until this point is self-sex. So definitely, if you have any strategies, you can leave a comment. If you're watching the replay, #replay, and let me know that below as well. But just to check back in, I am Shamaree. I'm a relationship and intimacy coach, and I empower women especially to get the confidence and pleasure that they deserve, so that they no longer settle for lack of satisfaction, especially when it comes to relationships. And so the next question, like I said, it kind of ties into the last one a little bit. It says, so how can I spice things up sexually without going too crazy? So spicing things up sexually without going too crazy. And so in my mind, when people say something like that, I am under the impression when they say too crazy, I think that they mean maybe more kinky, things that are not considered like the norm or vanilla. So in that respect, a lot of times people think when I say spice it up, I mean they need to go try out all these different fetishes or different kinks, and that's not necessarily true. If that feels completely out of your comfort zone, something that you have no interest in whatsoever, there are still ways that you can spice it up without having to tie each other up, without having to inflict pain on one another, without having to have all of these different toys and things to bring into it. That's not something that you have to do, or even bringing in other people. None of that has to happen in order for you to feel like you spiced it up, right? So what I say to that, and what I say kind of goes with the other one, is there are simple ways to change things up or to kind of break that routine without even doing anything really different. So one way that you can do that is by changing the type of touch. So maybe you use different pressure. Maybe you are a little bit rougher or a little bit more gentle. Maybe you do more surface or superficial type touches, or maybe you go really deep. When you get a massage, they ask you like what depth you want. You can do the same thing within an experience with your partner. So like, how deep do you want them to go when they're touching you, or when they're penetrating you, whatever, right? So you want to make sure that you're changing things in the way that you feel comfortable with. So if you like the same positions that you always do, you don't have to hang upside down or hang from the ceiling or do anything that feels out of your comfort zone at all. You just change up the speed, change up the temperature in the room, change up the scenery, change the room. Like I mentioned before, go somewhere else, do something different, or do the positions in a different order. I know a lot of times we can get very used to doing things a certain way, especially when we find out it works. If it was great last time and this is what we did, let's do that same thing so I can be sure that I'm gonna have a great time. But you can switch things up, experiment, and you might not always get the same results, but it's not always about that either. You can have pleasure without orgasming. You can have pleasure and still have a fun experience, even if it's something that you don't want to try again. Like that was cool, but let's not do that anymore. That's okay. So trying different things like that. Like I said, incorporating different tools or toys, other people, all of that is cool if that's something that you're interested in. But if it's not, then try changing some of those smaller things. Or they have 30-day challenges like on the internet all the time where they're like, oh, have sex with no kissing, or kiss only in this way, or touch only these parts, or have sex here, or do it on a chair, do it at night, do it in the morning, try it in the middle of the day. Like, those are all ways to spice things up and to make it interesting without having to be kinky if you're not kinky. So don't think that spice means that we have to go ghost pepper. We don't have to go ghost pepper. Garlic is a spice. Onion is a spice. It doesn't have to be two extremes in order for you to add some flavor, okay? So that is how I feel about that. If you need more ideas, in my course, Better Sex, Guide to Confidence, Satisfaction, and Orgasms Without Faking, the course has more ideas like that. So I give more detail to that. So if you are interested in spicing things up, but you're really not sure how to go about that, then the course is definitely helpful in that. It helps you to figure out what you like, what feels comfortable for you, where your confidence lies, and that's not only sexual confidence, but also just confidence in general. It helps you in communicating and setting boundaries and limits and figuring out where you feel comfortable. And when I say you, I mean you and whomever it is that you're going to be involved with. Just making sure that there's clear communication around that, and also knowing what's pleasurable for you, feeling confident in saying like, yo, this is what I like, or I'm not interested in that, and being okay with that and those decisions. So definitely check out that course. It is in the link in my bio. So if you click that, which I told you earlier, so you should do that. But all of that will be found there, and it's still 50% off, by the way. So if you're wanting to get a deal, that's the best time to do so. It's not going to be 50% off forever. And so last question: is having a curved penis normal? And so yes. It is normal, and generally speaking, most people who do have a curved penis, as long as it's not painful for you to get an erection, as long as it doesn't prevent you from having intercourse or penetration of any sort, then it's not really an issue. There is Peyronie's disease, which is kind of an extreme of a curved penis. If you're not sure if you're at an extreme or not, then you can definitely look up Peyronie's, or you should definitely talk to a doctor. But generally, penises come in all shapes, sizes, colors, all that. So having a curved penis is not necessarily a bad thing. You just kind of have to know which angles to go at things with. And a lot of women actually prefer that. So if you are heterosexual and you're interested in that type of sexual intercourse, then a lot of women actually like it. As long as you know which angle to go at things and what positions work best for you, then I don't, it's not a problem. It's a normal thing. So yes, that is okay, as long as it is not painful to you and does not prevent you from having an erection comfortably or from having sex. Then it is a-okay. Nothing to be worried about. So that is the last question. Like I said, I'm kind of in the middle of still doing my errands and my household things. So I do want to hurry up and get back to that before I have a meeting in a few minutes here. So definitely leave a comment. Let me know how you feel, what you think. Make sure you're following me if you have not done so. Check out all of the things that I have to offer. Stay tuned. There's a lot coming up. I've been working on a lot of different things. So you definitely want to be following me. Add me to your favorites so you can see anytime anything pops up. You'll be notified and I won't get lost in the algorithm. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Monday. Let me go take care of business. I will see you guys later.